Here I am on the Screencast-O-Matic page, and I'm going to go to my notes really quick. I like to use Google Drive over Microsoft Word because it saves automatically. It's just something I did in high school. So, Screencast-O-Matic is the name of my file. Pretty much what I did is I typed up our notes from Friday, day 2 of class, and I'm just going to go over it and tell you what I understand based on what we learned. So, the class is assessment techniques, and pretty much what we learned that standards are the focus of what teachers do at school. Teachers, that's supposed to say need. Teachers need to embed this in their lesson. I don't think in high school I understood that standards were embedded in my lessons, but now that I think about it, I could see how they were. However, I don't think I had a standard-based school. We didn't ever really get to break it down, or we didn't even really hear about it. So I do think that it's very important, and that standards will forever be the focus of what teachers do at school, because usually it's what you have to do at school. The next point says that it's very important to go over standards with their students. They need to know the vocabulary to completely understand. I personally have read standards and Common Core recently, and they can be pretty tough to understand. Sometimes I literally have to just break it down and be like, what's this word mean? How does this word mean? How do they correlate with each other? So I do think it's important to go over the standards with their students, but more importantly, I think it's better for them to actually understand what you're saying. So, of course, they need to know the vocabulary to understand. You need to be a standard-based school. I completely 150% agree. I think if I was to know the standards and know what the purpose of my learning and what my goal was, I could do better. In the video, they made a point about how it all starts with the standards, and I completely agree with that. Take the standards, break them down so they make sense. On the video that we watched, they had sticky notes, and the standard was on the big sticky note, and then they did the vocabulary on a different color sticky note, and they just broke it down so I can understand, and I think I personally will have to do that, so I know that my future students will personally have to do that. Assessment drives instruction, and I completely agree. I think if I was in a classroom and I had to be responsible for everything that my students were going to learn, if I had to start the beginning of the year and say, okay, well, they're going to learn this, 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 and this, it would be a little tough. And I know to an extent you do that, but with your standards, you have that instruction, and I think it drives. I started this, and I'm going to start again because I think it's so important. They talked about post-tests and how important they are, and she said, make sure you catch it early. Never leave a student behind. I've seen students being left behind. I've seen students jumping ahead. But there's nothing more sad to me than to see a student who didn't understand the lesson before, so therefore they don't understand the lesson now. I think it's so sad, and I hope that in my future classroom that I never accidentally leave a student behind. I plan to post-test, pre-test, you name it. I plan on doing it. And then down here it says formative assessment helps you focus and prioritize your instruction. And we kind of went over that up there, but I think it truly does help you focus and prioritize. I know this video is short, so I thought that I would just go over Microsoft with you. I mean, not Microsoft, Google, excuse me, I'm going crazy. Pretty much, if you look up here, it says all changes saved in Drive. If I type, it's going to say saving. That's because it saves automatically. So if computer shuts down and dies, it X's out, it's always going to be saved. You have all your fonts here, font size, bold, italicize, you name it. It's just like Microsoft Word. There are just a few things. I like to use the table tool when I have to make a chart, and I just think it's really great, and I wish more people used it. I plan to use it in my future classroom, and so pretty much I hope that you understood what I meant by assessment techniques and what the video said, and I hope that you do understand how to use Google Drive. And I know this video is short, and I know it's kind of silly, But I love Screencast-O-Matic. I think it's very cool, and I hope to use it in my future classroom.